Greetings, dear subscribers and casual listeners of my channel. Have you ever thought about who Harry Potter's father really was? What if I told you he wasn't the perfect hero many imagine him to be? In today's video, you will find out the shocking truth about James Potter. For Harry, his parents were always a shining ideal, almost like angels in human form. And it makes sense. A boy who lost his family as a baby would naturally idealize them, especially growing up in a home where he was unloved and mistreated by the Dursleys. But what happens if we step away from childhood admiration and look at James Potter objectively? His mother, Lily, was kind-hearted and selfless, but James, he was far from a saint.
Why do I say this? Let me prove it to you.
James Potter was born into a wealthy, respected wizarding family. Unlike the Malfoys or the Blacks, the Potters weren't obsessed with blood purity, but they still valued their lineage. James, however, broke tradition by marrying Lily, a Muggle-born witch, something his ancestors never did. At Hogwarts, James became a Gryffindor, excelling in Quidditch and surrounding himself with a close-knit group of friends: Sirius Black, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew. He was popular, talented, and full of confidence. He passed his exams effortlessly, relying more on natural ability than hard work. After Hogwarts, he and his friends joined the Order of the Phoenix, fighting against Voldemort. He faced the Dark Lord multiple times, always escaping with his life, until the fateful night when Voldemort came for his son. That night, James was the first to fall. But was he really the noble hero everyone remembers? The truth is, James Potter had flaws that cannot be ignored. He was a troublemaker. At school, James and his friends were notorious pranksters. They caused mischief, spied on classmates, and pulled stunts that often went too far. Even Lily found him arrogant and immature at first. He was arrogant. James took pride in his skills and pure-blood heritage. He never had to struggle for anything, and he wasn't shy about reminding others of that. He even mocked Vernon Dursley, Lily's sister's husband, for his Muggle interests. He bullied Severus Snape. And here's the biggest stain on his legacy: the relentless bullying of Severus. James humiliated him in front of the entire school, knowing full well that Severus was deeply in love with Lily. James Potter wasn't just a schoolyard prankster, he was a ringleader. Alongside Sirius Black, he orchestrated elaborate schemes that often left their targets humiliated. Teachers mostly turned a blind eye, charmed by his natural charisma and talent. But to those who found themselves on the wrong end of his wand, James wasn't a hero, he was a tormentor. One of his favorite pastimes was making Severus Snape's life miserable. Their feud wasn't just a childish rivalry, it was relentless, cruel, and one-sided. James had everything: friends, wealth, talent, and a future filled with promise. Snape had nothing but his books, his intelligence, and a deep love for a girl who would never choose him. James used that love as a weapon, taunting and humiliating Severus at every opportunity. It wasn't enough to outshine him in class. James wanted Severus to feel small. He wanted everyone to laugh at him, to remind him that he would never belong. One of the worst incidents happened by the Black Lake, with dozens of students watching. James levitated Snape upside down, exposing him in the most humiliating way possible. Severus tried to fight back, but James was too powerful, too fast. He laughed as Snape struggled, barely noticing Lily stepping in to stop the cruelty. Even when he stopped, it wasn't because he felt guilt, it was because Lily disapproved. That's the most telling thing about James Potter. He changed not out of remorse, but because he wanted Lily to see him differently. He spent years being arrogant, reckless, and cruel, and only when he realized that his behavior disgusted the one person he truly cared about did he start to shift.
But can change erase the past?
Many defend James by saying he was young, that he matured, that he fought for the right side. But does fighting against Voldemort automatically make someone good? Severus Snape also fought against Voldemort, and he did it with no promise of glory, no friends at his side, no happy ending waiting for him. He did it out of sheer, unwavering devotion. Yet history remembers Snape as complicated, while James is painted as a hero. Lily's love didn't automatically redeem him. People often assume that because she eventually married him, James must have become a better person. But love doesn't erase the past. Lily chose James, yes, but does that mean she forgave everything? Or did she simply accept him as the lesser of two evils compared to a man who had already doomed himself by choosing the dark arts? Even as an adult, James carried his arrogance with him. He mocked Voldemort to his face, calling him names even as he faced death. Some admire that as bravery. But was it bravery or sheer recklessness? If he had been just a little more cautious, a little less bold, could he have found another way to protect his family? We see glimpses of James after his death, in Harry's dreams, in the echoes from the Resurrection Stone, in the memories of those who loved him. He appears as a loving father, a devoted husband, a man willing to die for his family. And that is true, but it is only part of the truth. The reality is that James Potter was flawed, deeply so. He had moments of goodness, moments of heroism, moments of love, but he also had moments of cruelty, arrogance, and recklessness that cannot be ignored. So now I ask you, my dear listeners, was James Potter truly a good man? Or was he simply a lucky one whose sins were forgotten in the face of his tragic end?